I'm an anarchist. I believe I've always been an anarchist ever since I made that conscious decision to be so. And I don't believe in the government's authority. And I believe that I have found a way to operate that makes that very clear. And in many circumstances, does indeed deny authority to authority
Mm.
figures. Um,
Can you define for
it's
us anarchism? Would you mind defining your uh, anarchy for us?
Well, for me, anarchism is a belief that the government's claim of power over us is illegitimate, and um, and that authority, by its nature, is coercive,
Yeah.
and they are using their self-imposed pretend authority, but they back it up with this threat of violence.
Yes.
And I believe in mutual aid as opposed to the government organization and structure. I've always believed that the only way to be able to extricate ourselves from the government is through mutual aid and voluntary cooperation
Wow.
uh, to replace the functions of the government, if you will. I mean, when the government tries to say, alleviate poverty or something like that, it requires uh, taking all sorts of money and then running it through a bureaucracy in a very inefficient way that has all sorts of conditions on it that ultimately has incredible, amazing, unintended consequences. And it seems that it's just true of a lot of the things that the government attempts to do.
In this thing that you're talking about, this sort of, I don't know what it is. It flowers up this thing there that is called anarchism, which a lot of people think of when they think of it. They think of what the state has told them it is. It's things breaking and smashing and falling apart. I think probably a lot of people are surprised when they hear that the practice of it involves mutual aid and selflessness and
Absolutely.
giving.
No, anarchy is a very high level of order. I mean,
And,
it's the natural
right.
order that occurs in the absence of the state. Right after a natural disaster, before the state can get there, the people immediately come together. The people immediately start helping one another, helping survivors, clearing the roads.
Right.
That is anarchy.
So what? How big is it? Because I think there's something beautifully invisible about this anarchy and decentralization in general. You know, centralization. Anytime you have some leader that is, that isn't just some temporary leader like teaching people how to cook or whatever, but a leader, it's easy to like sort of trace the structure. With anarchism, it's different in the sense that it's a real thing. I mean, these flowers or whatever you want to call it, these communities blossom.
It happens day to day. It's a beautiful thing. I
How
mean,
big? How
anarchy
big
happens
is it?
every
How big
day.
is it? How big is this? If you had to guess, and I'm sorry if it's a dumb question, like you represent, there's for every Vermin Supreme, a celebrity. Forgive me if that's an insulting term. I mean it in the best way possible.
Oh no!
Someone to be celebrated.
Now that I'm on Cameo, it's official.
No, don't do it. But what I'm don't do it. I told Cameo.
No,
I told them I'd do it for $50 million.
right? You can do that. You can do
but
that. I do it
I
cheap.
I don't know, but I don't know. I don't want to waste my time with a great high magician by talking about Cameo. When I'm asked,
I do have an institute that I'm trying to finance. The Vermin.
needs.
We have a Vermin Institute now.
Here's the question, though. Here's my question. For every one of you, there's a lot of people, and you were
Yes.
kind of mentioning them, the other activists, the people who show up to these things, while all of us are tweeting. And from that, you must have gotten some approximation of a kind of decentralized movement happening in the world. And I'm wondering if you could give either pop that balloon of hope that I have, where I love to fantasize about some decentralized beautiful anarchic revolution that's happening right now and think that it's massive. But is it what I think it is? Is it possible that there's a lot of you out there do it at different levels of society, working your magic in different ways?
Well, I think there is. I think there's so many people are involved in so many projects. I mean, there um, that we don't even have a grasp on it. I mean, I guess it depends how you wanted to define it, but I really like to think so. I mean, I don't think it's a huge percentage of the population, and I really have absolutely zero way of fully guessing, quite frankly. So I don't want to lead you on, but yes, the anarchist revolution is right on schedule, and we are winning.
Who?
We are winning. Ponies will be here soon. They're turning the corner. Um, it's a happening thing.